Morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's episode on Adsha's YouTube channel. This morning, we've got with us Jennifer Paddock. Welcome, Jennifer. Jennifer Paddock from Paddocks. Hi, Jen.
Hi, thanks for having me on here, Mike. Appreciate the opportunity.
No, really great. We've been wanting to bring you on board for a long time now. So glad to have you with us at last. Great, great, great. Jennifer, before we start going off at different tangents, I'm going to ask you a few questions this morning. Um, Tell us a little bit about Paddocks. For those of our viewers who don't know Paddocks, I'm sure that's very, very few people, but especially among the young people. Where did Paddocks come from? Tell us about
Sure.
it.
So my dad, Graham Paddock, who is, sort of considered one of the big wigs in sectional title in South Africa, or at least he was prior to retirement, although I think he still has some weight to his reputation. He started Paddocks, I would say, probably the end of the 1990s, probably. I think because before that he was at Beverages as the sort of senior partner, managing partner, and he was in the conveyancing department and specialized in sectional titles. And then he broke away from that firm and started his own firm, which I think originally was Graham Paddock and Associates. And then over the years, and obviously that firm specialized in community scheme training and law, and mainly focusing on sectional titles and homeowners associations. Um, then my brothers joined the firm, and they changed the name to Paddocks because now there were three Paddocks, actually four, because my mom was always involved as well. And I think what happened to sort of put Paddocks on the map was that my eldest brother Sam had just finished a degree at UCT in like information systems, and he had created this sort of online learning platform as part of his final project. My dad was flying around the country training managing agents and trustees and chairpersons, etc., on the laws related to sectional titles and homeowners associations. And so then my eldest brother took what my dad was doing in terms of face-to-face training and put it online. And it's sort of the first one, I think, was the sectional title scheme manager course. And that was actually presented in conjunction with UCT. So, in the industry, we obviously don't currently have a mandatory minimum sort of training or qualification for managing agents. Obviously, the PPRA is working on that as we speak. But for the last 20 years or so, there hasn't been any mandatory minimum training or qualification. And so Paddocks almost filled that gap, and it became almost the de facto course to do if you want to become a portfolio manager in a managing agency. And many managing agencies actually in the past have required their new staff to come onto our courses so that they can be effectively trained. So that's where Paddocks started, and that's obviously we also did consulting and training. We have different offerings which I can go through, but the training is sort of the engine, I think, of Paddocks. I joined Paddocks straight after university, so I studied law, and then I went and did my articles at Paddocks with my dad being my principal, and obviously learned a lot there. And once I became an admitted attorney, I decided that I wanted to travel. And so I went to Australia. And when I first went to Australia, I wasn't sure if I was going to stay long term or not. So I didn't sort of re-qualify as a solicitor initially there, because obviously you can't just rock up in Australia with a South African law degree and say, I'm an admitted attorney, so I can start practicing. They make you re-qualify. So initially I was like, well, what can I do? I've been in this kind of community scheme space on the legal side in South Africa. How can I translate this into, a good job in Australia? And so I started working as a owners corporation manager, which is owners corporation is the term for body corporate in Victoria. That's one of the states in Australia. So yeah, I worked as an owners corporation manager there for a while, and it was a whole different insight into, community schemes, because it's very easy to be sitting in your nice little office writing opinions and giving people legal advice or training people versus actually being, sort of on the receiving end of all the complaints and the dramas and the, arrears and the insurance claims. And, you know all about it, Mike. So that was a very sort of humbling experience, and also very helpful in terms of when I eventually came back and rejoined Paddocks. I had a whole, new understanding of how things actually work on the ground, which was really helpful. And yeah, so I've been back from Australia now for about 3 years. I think got back 2021. And best decision I've ever made coming back. I love South Africa, I love Cape Town, miss my family so much. And yeah, I rejoined Paddocks. My dad is sort of at the point where he's retiring. So we call him semi-retired because, as I said before the interview, I don't think he'll ever stop working. But yeah, he's very much sort of in the background now, and I've actually started my own business called Jennifer Paddock and Associates, and now I'm running the Paddocks courses out of this new entity, and also Paddocks Club out of the new entity. And then my dad has retained, the ownership of all the books and everything that he's written over the years and the templates and all of that. So my dad sort of like set me up to run my own business based on the legacy of all of his hard work. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And yeah, it's actually been really fun being my own boss. It's been great.
Ah, fantastic. Jen,
Yeah.
I think you play things down there a little bit, so I'm going to add to it. Okay, so
Okay.
first of all, I've known Graham and Paddocks to be the expert since I think this book's from the 1980s, actually. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
goes really far back. And of course, as I mentioned to you earlier, we've got a whole lot more. Graham looks a bit different in that picture, I must say. But so
Oh,
we've
well.
got a few books, and and I remember when Graham and your mom were working together from home originally,
Yeah.
and that was in the early 2000s.
Mm.
So, and Paddocks was well established, I think, before Sam got involved, um,
Yeah.
and it was really great. You went online, and that's what fascinated me at the time, and yeah, so Graham was a legend already. I think he just went into the electronic world with Sam. So yeah,
Yeah.
really,
That's true.
really, really great. And then I remember meeting you. I mean, that was nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and um, and so yeah, it was young Jennifer, but you still look young, I must say. But
There's a
I
filter that you
know
can put
there's a
on
lot of
Zoom, Mike, if
wisdom.
you don't know about it.
You've been around Australia. I'm fascinated by your Australian trip.
Hmm.
I try and track. I've been over myself to go and see what's going on occasion. I've been different cities. I think it's Perth and Sydney, and spoke to some interesting people. And I'm following it again. There's a lot of interesting stuff going down there, and I thought
Hmm.
maybe I'll take the conversation there this morning. Uh, it's interesting. Don't you agree?
I
For
do. I feel
different
like,
states with different laws.
yeah, and particularly I think Queensland and New South Wales, they very much sort of on the cutting edge of strata laws, strata management, all that kind of thing. And we can really learn a lot from them. When we're having a tough issue, like if you look at, short-term letting, for example, all the Airbnb that's going on and the drama that it causes, and then you look at, what's happening in Australia in that regard, and it's helpful to sort of influence us and our adjudicators and judges to just give a broader perspective of like what countries slightly ahead of us are doing. And I think Canada is also a really good one to keep an eye
Okay.
on. Yeah, also very very cutting edge, I would say.
No, interesting. It's called Look Up Strata is one of their publications,
Mm, yes.
and I find and they have it's an online blog type of thing, and I keep watching those because there's a lot cooking over the last year about insurance as well, which is quite
Mm,
interesting. But I think what we should do maybe is ask one or two of their experts to come into a little discussion with yourself and a
yeah.
few of us, and
There's
maybe.
actually a lady, I think her name's Amanda Farmer. She's got a really good blog, newsletter, whatever you want to call it. And she's always on top of all the kind of latest strata developments in Australia. So that's another one to
Hmm,
subscribe to.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, Jennifer, so tell us now. I know you're being a little bit humble about what you say because I'm in awe with some of the stuff that you've done. I remember you were traveling all around Australia, so you've got all of that out of your system, I suppose.
Yeah.
Travel and yet a professional, yet you were traveling, were almost
Yes.
camping and really
Yeah.
really the outdoor life that you had for your young boys, your young boys now, two of them, still two.
Yeah. I've got two boys and a little girl now, actually.
Oh, a little girl as well, right?
Yeah. She's 3. She has the
Oh,
sweetest
wow.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
Um, yeah, let me tell you about that caravan trip because it was quite an adventure. So I had eventually requalified as an Australian solicitor, and originally I was working for a strata specialist firm remotely they were based in Sydney. I was based in Byron Bay, which is northern New South Wales. And so, yeah, I did that for about a year. And then I got a job with a commercial law firm, also a remote role. So I moved out of Strata for a little bit. And my boss was amazing. And I said to her, look, it's a dream of mine to travel around Australia in a caravan. They call it doing a big lap. And I said, working remotely, I was working 6 hours a day because obviously having young kids and everything. So I said, would you be open to me traveling and working at the same time? And I'll make sure that I get my 6 hours in a day. I could do it flexibly. And she was like, okay, as long as you can always guarantee that you've got great internet so that I can get hold of you whenever I need you, no problem. So she was incredible. So we got like all these boosters put onto the caravan to make sure that we had the internet and whatever. And then, yeah, we traveled for 9 months around Oz. And I would wake up at 5 in the morning. I'd work from 5 until 8. Then I would have from like 8 until 2 to explore and, travel and play with the kids and whatever. And then I would work from 2 till 5. And then that was my day. And like, it was pretty stressful, but it was also incredible, incredible experience. So I've got lots of memories, ticked off a lot of bucket list items, got to swim with the whale sharks and see the Great Barrier Reef and do all the beautiful things that Australia has to offer. So it was really magical. And I'm so glad I did it. And I don't think I'll ever get travel out of my system. You said earlier, maybe
No, you don't. Traveling. One doesn't. I agree.
My favorite thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. What do they say for the books you read and the places you visit? You're about the same person, something like that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Jen, just we don't want to, we could just probably speak the whole day. I mean, we don't want to keep you the whole day. But I think there's two last things. What would you say that the viewer can get out of Paddocks? I mean, do they phone you if they have a consulting thing? I don't think that's necessarily the case. Do they join Paddocks Club? What courses do you have on offer? What can you offer my clients?
Okay, sure. So, I mean, you can find out everything about Paddocks at paddocks.co.za, which is the website. But essentially, we offer courses. At the moment, we're running 4 different training courses. We do sectional title scheme manager, which is sort of our benchmark course. We've got HOA scheme manager. We've got start and manage your own managing agency, which is for people who actually wanting to sort of break away from working for other people and start their own business. And then we've also got the advanced sectional title financial management masterclass, which is a 3-week, it's a short course, but it's very like a deep dive into the finances and financial management of sectional title schemes. The other courses are all 8 weeks, so a little bit longer, a bit more, substantial in content. And, that's our main offering. Then we have Paddocks Club, which you know all about, Mike, because it's a monthly membership, which people sign up to. Mike's been a member for years and years. And it's basically off the cuff general advice on community scheme matters. So we're not going to take your scheme's documents and review them and write formal legal opinions. You just say, this is what's happening in my scheme. If there's any special rules that apply, you just tell us that. And then we just give you our sort of general off-the-cuff advice. It's a very low cost, easy access to advice because we answer within 24 hours, Monday to Friday. So that's the second sort of biggest thing in Paddocks. And then, of course, there is consulting, which we sort of pick and choose as much as we can, depending on our capacity. And people can contact us through the website. They can either email info@paddocks.co.za or consulting@paddocks.co.za, and then we can, assess what you need and help you. So yeah, feel free to get in touch with us.
Oh, great. And just want to add about Paddocks Club. It's really a fantastic, so underline that, forum, I would say, being the club. And it's a bargain. What I particularly note now that it's been going on for so many years, you've got so much information now stacked up there. So you can actually, just about on any subject, you can go and find something where Jennifer or Graham has actually had stuff to say about a subject. So yeah, very, very, really good resource.
There are thousands of Q&As on there, even just, going back to the start of the new legislation. And there's also a lot of resources, there's all the legislation, there's with Graham's commentaries, there's Graham's books, there's video tutorials, there's all sorts of things on there. It's very much a hub of information on community schemes. And there's a lot of people that add a lot of value on there, like yourself, Mike. I mean, so grateful. Anytime there's an insurance question, I'm like, please, can Mike weigh in here, please? But yeah, we have lots of amazing people that add value. So thank you.
No, that's great. Yeah, Jennifer. And then in closing, I mean, so to contact you, I'm going to put the details up here on the screen.
Yeah.
Your phone number, you want to,
So we don't have actually a general phone number at this point, but if you want to contact me directly, you can email Jennifer at paddocks.co.za.
okay,
So JENNIFER, and then I can always phone you if need be.
correct. New tech. That's the way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Telephone. No,
Yeah, I
great.
don't even
Cutting
have a
edge.
landline.
Well done, Jen, and really great to see you. And I'm sure we'll chat a lot more in time
Yeah.
to come.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mike. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Pleasure.